Unrivaled League needs Caitlin Clark, and they are preparing to offer her a massive deal. But is it all too little too late?
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Clark Update. We've got a massive story today that's sending shockwaves through the basketball world. New reports surrounding Caitlin Clark's future have sparked intense debate across social media, leaving fans asking one big question: what happens next? Could one of the biggest names in women's basketball be preparing for an unprecedented move? Or is this simply another rumor that's growing bigger by the hour? Let's break down everything that's being reported. What if I told you that Caitlin Clark could soon receive an offer unlike anything women's basketball has ever seen? According to recent reports and widespread media speculation, the unrivaled 3-on-3 Women's Basketball League is once again preparing to pursue Clark with what some commentators have described as a Lionel Messi-style recruitment strategy, an extraordinary effort designed to bring the sport's biggest star into its rapidly growing league. The goal? To make Caitlin Clark the face of what many believe could become the most exciting professional 3-on-3 basketball competition in the world. If those reports prove accurate, this wouldn't simply be another contract negotiation. It could represent one of the most significant business moves in the history of women's basketball. But how realistic are these reports? Would Clark actually consider making the move? And what could it mean for the future of both the WNBA and Unrivaled? We're breaking down everything that's being reported, the biggest fan reactions, and what this could mean moving forward. Before we jump in, if you're enjoying our content, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Clark Update. Believe it or not, more than 93% of viewers still haven't subscribed. Subscribing is completely free, takes only a second, and it helps us continue bringing you the biggest WNBA stories every single day. If you've already subscribed, thank you so much for your incredible support. Now, let's get into today's story.
This, to me, is another reason why Caitlin Clark needs to flee the WNBA. It's a political organization. They're not serious about business. They don't care about traditional sports fans. It's a little cult that puts out little political statements. Everybody wears vote t-shirts. They don't care about making money. They don't care really about building up this league and making it profitable. They're a charity. She needs to flee the WNBA and start her own league in this
Side Club. It has just been reported today that Caitlin Clark could receive a Lionel Messi-like offer to play an unrivaled startup 3-on-3 league.
According to multiple reports, the strategy being discussed has drawn comparisons to one of the boldest recruitment campaigns in modern sports history. When Inter Miami CF set out to sign Lionel Messi in 2023, the club understood that offering a traditional salary alone wouldn't be enough. Instead, reports described a groundbreaking package that went far beyond a standard player contract. The agreement reportedly included a deal valued at around $150 million, additional long-term financial incentives, and even an ownership stake in the club, creating one of the most unique contracts ever offered to a professional athlete. The incentives didn't stop there. Apple also reportedly agreed to give Messi a share of the revenue generated through MLS Season Pass, allowing him to benefit directly from the league's growing global audience. It wasn't just a signing, it was an investment in the future of an entire league. Now, according to recent reports, many basketball insiders believe Unrivaled could be exploring a similarly ambitious approach in its pursuit of Caitlin Clark. The idea isn't simply to convince the biggest star in women's basketball to play a few games, it's to build the league around her. Supporters believe Clark's influence extends far beyond the basketball court. She sells tickets, she drives television ratings, she attracts corporate sponsors, and perhaps most importantly, she brings millions of new fans to women's basketball. That's why some reports suggest a traditional contract may not be enough. If Unrivaled truly wants Clark to become the face of its league, insiders believe it may need to think much bigger, offering opportunities and incentives that reflect her value not only as a player, but also as one of the most influential figures in modern sports. Whether that ultimately happens remains to be seen. But one thing is becoming increasingly clear. If these reports are accurate, the competition to secure Caitlin Clark's future could become one of the biggest business stories women's basketball has ever seen.
League has 26 of their 30 players already, and they have been announcing players for the past 3 months. And there has been speculation throughout the entire WNBA season if Caitlin Clark would be joining Unrivaled in the offseason. Caitlin Clark is needed for this league. It should be one of their main goals is to get her to play in the league no matter what that costs, no matter what that is going to take.
According to multiple reports, Unrivaled isn't thinking small. League insiders claim the startup is prepared to put together one of the most aggressive recruitment packages ever seen in women's basketball. And if those reports are accurate, the offer could extend far beyond a traditional player salary. Sources familiar with the discussions suggest Clark could reportedly be offered a package that includes equity in the league, revenue-sharing opportunities, and a salary that may approach $1 million for a season lasting less than 3 months. If true, it would represent one of the richest short-term playing opportunities in the history of women's professional basketball. But that's only part of the story. The reported interest isn't simply about rewarding Caitlin Clark for what she's already accomplished on the court. It's about what many believe she can do for the future of an entire league. Clark's commercial value has continued to soar since entering the professional ranks. According to Sports Pro's annual rankings, she was recently listed among the world's most marketable athletes, an achievement that placed her alongside some of the biggest names in global sports. Perhaps the most eye-catching detail, Clark reportedly ranked 4th, with global soccer icon Lionel Messi immediately behind her in 5th place. That comparison alone speaks volumes about how rapidly her influence has expanded beyond basketball. Very few athletes reach that level of commercial appeal. Even fewer accomplish it during the early stages of their professional careers. For Unrivaled, that marketability may be just as valuable as Clark's performance on the court. Every game she plays attracts television audiences. Every appearance generates headlines. Every endorsement strengthens her position as one of the most recognizable faces in modern sports. That's why many analysts believe this recruitment effort isn't simply about signing a superstar. It's about building an entire league around one player capable of changing the business of women's basketball. If those insider reports prove accurate, Caitlin Clark isn't just negotiating a contract. She could be negotiating a partnership that reshapes the future of the sport itself.
Lisa Collier, who is one of the founders of Unrivaled, had this to say about Caitlin Clark. She said, "It's just so crazy because the growth that Caitlin has brought to the game, the sheer amount of money that she's making these teams, people are having to move their venues when she comes to play, and she's getting paid like $75,000 a year. She should be one of the top paid players in the world just for the sheer numbers that she's bringing." And I'm glad that a WNBA player is finally saying this out loud, admitting to it, because it has been so clear for so many people the Caitlin Clark effect that she has had on the WNBA this season.
According to people familiar with the league's ambitions, Unrivaled isn't just chasing Caitlin Clark because of what she can do on the basketball court. They're chasing what many believe she can do for the business of the league itself. Supporters of the plan believe Clark could create a ripple effect similar to what Lionel Messi brought to Major League Soccer. When Messi arrived, television audiences grew, ticket demand surged, sponsorship opportunities expanded, and global attention followed. Now, according to reports, Unrivaled hopes Clark could generate a similar wave of excitement. The expectation is that her presence could boost ticket sales, increase viewership for broadcast partner TNT Sports, and attract even more high-profile corporate advertisers eager to associate with one of the biggest names in women's sports. After all, many observers credit Clark with helping drive unprecedented attention toward the WNBA during her rookie season. From sold-out arenas to record television audiences, her impact has extended well beyond the box score. When viewed through that lens, even a reported $1 million salary for a season lasting less than 3 months begins to look less like an expense and more like an investment. Compared with the contracts earned by NBA superstars, that number is relatively modest. Players like LeBron James and Stephen Curry earn tens of millions of dollars each season through their NBA contracts alone. But within women's professional basketball, a short-term deal reportedly worth around $1 million would represent a groundbreaking financial commitment. The contrast becomes even more striking when compared to Clark's WNBA rookie contract. According to publicly available salary figures, her base WNBA salary is only a fraction of the reported amount being discussed by Unrivaled. That comparison has reignited conversations about player compensation and the growing financial opportunities emerging outside the traditional WNBA structure. Fortunately for Clark, her earning power has never depended solely on her playing salary. Long before turning professional, she had already become one of the most marketable athletes in the world. Her endorsement portfolio includes partnerships with globally recognized brands such as Nike, State Farm, Gatorade, Wilson, Bose, and several others. Reports also indicate she signed a long-term endorsement agreement with Nike, valued at approximately $28 million over 8 years, highlighting just how valuable brands believe her influence has become. Even so, many analysts argue that endorsement income shouldn't be the only source of significant earnings for a player of Clark's stature. Instead, they believe her on-court compensation should increasingly reflect the enormous value she brings to every league she represents. And if Unrivaled truly follows through on the kind of package that's being reported, it could mark a turning point, not just for Caitlin Clark, but for the business model of women's professional basketball as a whole.
Do I think Caitlin Clark should join Unrivaled? I'm not so sure. I think that the money needs to be high. It needs to be in the millions. It needs to be at least what Cube offered her for the big three at minimum. And even with that, Caitlin Clark doesn't need any money. She has plenty of endorsement deals. I think she is totally fine. And I think for her body and for her mental health, it might not be the best thing for.
Of course, Caitlin Clark has another option. She could simply spend her off-season exactly how many elite athletes prefer: resting, training, working on her game, playing golf, fulfilling endorsement commitments, and preparing for another WNBA season. Financially, she doesn't need to rush into anything. That's what makes Unrivaled's reported pursuit so fascinating. According to league officials, Unrivaled was founded with a bold mission. Co-founded by Brianna Stewart and Nafisa Collier, the league has repeatedly stated its goal of offering the highest average salaries ever seen in a professional women's sports league. Reports indicate that every player is expected to receive a 6-figure base salary, while also having opportunities to earn equity in the league itself. If accurate, that combination of salary and long-term ownership potential could dramatically reshape how elite women's basketball players evaluate their careers. But money isn't the only selling point. Supporters of the league believe the chance to compete against many of the world's top women's basketball players in a fast-paced 3-on-3 format could be just as appealing. According to multiple reports, league executives have also made it clear that compensation won't follow a one-size-fits-all model. Instead, player earnings are reportedly expected to reflect individual market value. The bigger the audience, the stronger the brand, the greater the commercial impact, the larger the financial opportunity. And that's exactly where Caitlin Clark stands apart. By virtually every measure, she has become one of the most recognizable athletes in American sports. Television ratings spike when she plays. Social media engagement surges whenever her name trends. Every appearance creates headlines that reach far beyond the basketball community. Reports have also suggested that many established stars, including players such as Chelsea Gray, Angel Reese, and others, have expressed interest in competing in the league, adding even more credibility to its long-term vision. Meanwhile, another major storyline has unfolded behind the scenes. WNBA players voted to opt out of the current collective bargaining agreement, opening the door for future negotiations regarding salaries, benefits, and overall player compensation. That decision only intensified conversations about what the future of women's professional basketball could look like. When asked about individual contracts, Unrivaled representatives have consistently emphasized the league's commitment to offering record-setting average salaries while declining to discuss specific financial packages. League officials have also highlighted equity opportunities as a central part of their long-term business model, believing players should benefit from the league's future success, not just their yearly contracts. According to league plans, the inaugural season was scheduled to begin in Miami, featuring a compact schedule that allows athletes to compete during the WNBA offseason. But despite all the speculation, despite the reported offers, and despite the enormous financial possibilities, the final decision still belongs to one person, Caitlin Clark. Unrivaled has remained careful not to publicly discuss private negotiations, but league representatives have acknowledged what many fans already believe. A player with Clark's influence represents exactly the type of superstar capable of accelerating the growth of an entirely new league. After just one professional season, Clark has already reached a position very few athletes ever experience. She isn't simply negotiating a basketball contract. She's negotiating her value as one of the most influential figures in modern sports. And whether she ultimately chooses to stay focused solely on the WNBA or embrace new opportunities elsewhere, one thing is already clear. The business of women's basketball is changing faster than ever before, and Caitlin Clark is standing at the center of that transformation.
That's the issue with the WNBA, and I'm going to repeat a mantra. It is the most unlikable league and culture in all of sports, by far. And I'm talking from the players, to some of the ownership, to all the media members, to the podcasters, to those who defend it. It's the most unlikable league in the whole wide world. And this is just another piece of evidence to support that statement.
And the response is unparalleled if she wishes to go. I don't care how much money they can offer. Caitlin Clark, $100 million.
I don't care how much money. They can offer Caitlin Clark $100 million, and I would tell her to stay away from this unrivaled 3-on-3. It's going to be a disaster. It's going to be a bad look for women's basketball. It's going to hurt their momentum. It's not even a real thing. It's something to pacify them, to make the women think, hey, you know what? I need to keep going along with this crap WNBA league that has poor leadership and doesn't know how to become profitable, so we can get paid. They want to get paid for just whining and complaining and saying we deserve it rather than earning it. They could earn it if they started a rival.
That raises one final question. What would happen to the WNBA if Caitlin Clark ever decided to walk away? Among many fans online, the answer seems obvious. Supporters frequently argue that Clark has become the league's biggest attraction, pointing to record-breaking television audiences, sold-out arenas, soaring merchandise sales, and the unprecedented level of media attention surrounding her games. Some commentators have even suggested that losing Clark, if it were ever to happen, would have an immediate and significant impact on the league's popularity. Others believe that prediction goes too far. They argue the WNBA has built its success on generations of elite talent, and that no single player, regardless of her popularity, is bigger than the league itself. That debate has become one of the most polarizing conversations in women's basketball. One side believes Caitlin Clark is now the driving force behind the league's explosive growth. The other believes the WNBA's future depends on the strength of all its stars, not just one. What's clear is that Clark has become the center of nearly every major basketball conversation. Whether the topic is television ratings, attendance, sponsorships, or the future of women's professional basketball, her name is almost always part of the discussion. Yet despite that undeniable influence, many fans continue to question whether the WNBA has fully embraced just how valuable she has become, and that ongoing debate may ultimately shape not only Caitlin Clark's future, but the future direction of the league itself.
Not only would she be financially secure if that deal is legitimate, I would like to see the WNBA for at least one season without her. Because you keep saying it's about the league. You keep saying it's about other people too. It's not just about one person. I'd actually like to see
Caitlin Clark has remained relatively quiet in the weeks following the conclusion of her historic WNBA rookie season. But that silence suddenly became far more interesting when the Indiana Fever released new footage showing Clark back on the court and working through an intense training session. On the surface, it looked like a normal off-season workout, but the timing immediately caught the attention of fans. Just hours earlier, reports had surfaced claiming that Unrivaled could be preparing an extraordinary Lionel Messi-style offer in an attempt to convince Clark to join the new 3-on-3 league. And almost immediately, the speculation began. Was the workout simply part of Clark's normal off-season routine? Was she preparing for another NBA campaign? Or could she quietly be getting ready for something much bigger? In the video, Clark made it clear that she still believes there are countless areas of her game she wants to improve. "I feel like I'm only scratching the surface," she explained, adding that she intends to keep returning to the gym and working every single day. That statement reveals something important about her mentality. Despite everything she accomplished during her rookie season, despite becoming one of the most discussed athletes in professional sports, and despite playing a major role in the explosive rise of women's basketball, Clark clearly doesn't believe she has reached her ceiling. She wants to improve, she wants to expand her game, and she appears determined to enter her next challenge as an even more complete player. But what exactly will that next challenge be? That is where the unrivaled speculation becomes impossible to ignore. The league recently announced an exclusive multi-year media rights partnership with TNT Sports, with games set to air across TNT's platforms, including True TV and Max. The partnership immediately gave the startup league greater visibility, stronger credibility, and access to a massive national audience. And if Caitlin Clark were added to that lineup, the attention surrounding Unrivaled could reach an entirely different level. Her participation would instantly transform every game into an event. Television ratings could surge. Tickets could become even more difficult to obtain. Sponsors would almost certainly take notice, and basketball fans who might otherwise ignore an off-season competition would suddenly have a reason to watch. But even if Clark decided to join, another fascinating question would remain. Who would she play with? Could Unrivaled create the ultimate headline by placing Clark on the same team as Angel Reese? The two players have been connected through one of the most talked-about rivalries in women's basketball, dating back to their college careers. Putting them together would create a storyline almost impossible for fans to ignore. Two competitors, two enormous personalities, two of the most recognizable young stars in the sport, on the same team. It would be a marketing dream, and perhaps one of the most compelling experiments women's basketball has ever seen. But that isn't the only possibility. Clark could also be paired with established veterans, elite scorers, defensive specialists, or even players whose names have been connected to potential moves involving the Indiana Fever. The possibilities are endless, and that uncertainty is exactly why this story has captured so much attention. So now, the biggest question belongs to you. If the reports are accurate, and Caitlin Clark receives a historic offer from Unrivaled, what should she do? Should she remain completely focused on the WNBA and continue building her legacy with the Indiana Fever? Or should she embrace a groundbreaking opportunity that could reshape the future of women's basketball? There are strong arguments on both sides. Staying with the WNBA would allow Clark to rest, protect her body, improve during the off-season, and continue transforming the league where her professional journey began. Joining Unrivaled, however, could offer a major payday, equity opportunities, elite competition, and the chance to become the central figure in an entirely new basketball product. Only Caitlin Clark knows which path is best for her future. But one fact is impossible to ignore. She has become one of the most influential athletes in all of sports. Wherever Clark plays, fans follow. Tickets sell, television audiences grow, sponsors pay attention, and the entire basketball world begins debating her every move. Whether that future includes the WNBA, Unrivaled, or another opportunity entirely, Clark's impact is undeniable. That is exactly why leagues want her. That is why broadcasters value her, And that is why even a simple off-season workout can immediately become headline news. At the same time, it is important to remember that nothing has been officially confirmed regarding her participation in Unrivaled. Until Clark or the league makes a formal announcement, the reported offer, her level of interest, and any possible team combinations remain speculation. But that doesn't make the conversation any less fascinating. So let me know your opinion in the comments. If you were in Caitlin Clark's position, what would you do? Would you accept the reported massive offer and become the face of a brand new league? Or would you stay focused on the WNBA and continue trying to transform it from within? Drop your answer below because I want to see where basketball fans stand on this decision. And while you're there, tell me which players you would want to see teamed up with Clark if she joined Unrivaled. Would you want the ultimate Clark and Reese super team? Or would you prefer to see her paired with another superstar? If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to Clark Update, and turn on all notifications so you never miss breaking WNBA news, Caitlin Clark updates, trade rumors, or exclusive basketball stories. Every like, comment, and subscription helps support this channel and allows us to continue bringing you fresh basketball content every day. Thank you so much for watching until the very end. I truly appreciate every one of you for being part of the Clark Update community. Until next time, stay safe, stay positive, keep supporting the game you love, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, and God bless.